But jeez, man, like, why you gotta do me like that?
Bro,
Why you just gotta be such a dickhead like that?
because I will go ahead and I will edit you out of every single episode, so that way I have the time and effort. Do not piss me off. I could do a lot of silly shit.
Listen, if I go solo, I'm just gonna be a black screen. Like if that's about the extent of my YouTube knowledge.
Nah, you're gonna have a camcorder, just like fucking just dribbling around, just like, okay, guys, okay. Well,
I mean, I do have like a black sheet, and I could put that mask on. So like, I mean, it would just be like a more realistic version of what we're doing now. So I guess it'd actually be a step up in some cases.
It's true. But in either case, we should stop bickering and get back to the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the On the Throne podcast. I am your co-host, Lord Spongekick, and here's your other co-host, person.
Ha! It's your boy,
Reaper Joe. And who is, I was going to say for a second, who is on the throne today, Reaper Joe? But somebody's actually on it. That is impressive. We have our gingery little friend, our YouTuber companion, our boy, Trisky Television.
I rise from the depths of the soulless to meet you here on this throne, this golden throne, as you would.
You chose this throne of all thrones to sit on.
I thought I was edgy.
Damn. Yeah, what the frick, man? Get off our throne. You know what? Get out of here.
All right, bye.
Right,
no, please.
No, we needed the content.
Oh God, he left.
Oh shit.
No, please come back.
We had 3,000 subscribers. We could have plugged our merch. Oh, I completely forgot that you could not rejoin the channel.
That felt so badly because you fucking forgot that I don't have the power to tell your fucking recording room.
Guest access to that, man. I'm sorry. But that was beautiful. That was great, actually. Don't worry.
Okay.
Now you have access to it. No more bits. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen,
access provided.
Yes, we have TriskyTV with us, and he's gonna be with us to shoot the shit, talk about just pretty much whatever. We want to get inside the mind of our boy here, since Colin and I are talking to each other every week, and sometimes it gets boring. So.
Hey man, I have tons of stories.
It's true, but now we have stories from somebody else. So
yeah, actually, I have one that I immediately want to tell you because I just thought of it shortly before we started up because I remembered this from like my school days because of your podcast name, actually.
Yeah, go for it.
Y'all were talking about the throne, the shit, and like you were having this whole schism thing going on before the podcast, and I was just like, well, I had a teacher back in high school, so. Have you ever had that eccentric teacher back in school that like everyone loved them and they had some weird thing that they collected?
Yes, actually, yeah. How's that related?
Yeah. There was a teacher in my school. She taught Spanish primarily, but she was my Latin teacher. She collected fucking toilets.
Wait, whole ass toilets? Like
no, like little toilet figures and shit. Like I when she finally retired, I got a fucking it's this little bronze toilet. You can actually lift the lid and it's in like proper 3 parts, like a proper toilet, but it's a pencil sharpener. Oh but she had like all of these on her desk. So many of them. We just called her Senora.
Senora.
What is it with Spanish teachers, man?
Yeah, it's just a thing.
Oh man.
But it was amazing for me too, because I mean you haven't met me IRL, but I have probably told you this before. I'm like 6'3". I'm not a short boy. I'm a tall boy. Yeah. She was short as shit.
Was she like 5'4", 5'5" ish?
Probably like 4 something.
Whoa, that is.
She was short as shit.
So like
She was shorter than like all of the students in her class.
Wait, what grade did she teach then?
High school.
Oh no.
Yeah, that sounds about right, to be honest.
Yeah, she was this short as hell Spanish teacher. She taught my Latin class. And like, I actually think she fucking followed me. It's hilarious. I think she followed me. She transferred from the middle school to the high school when I moved over, just like my fucking principal did.
They wanted to come on, or they wanted to follow you, man. They saw that.
Hey, I guess I have that kind of personality. Everyone just wanted to come with me.
No, the question is, are they following you on Twitch?
That's true. That's true.
I hope not, because they will be heavily disappointed.
What if you went ahead and said shout out to Senora Banyo?
I honestly doubt that's her name.
She's like, I get that reference. That's me.
I remember her last name, and I remember the joke about her last name. I'm not going to give it out just in fear of doxing her out. But yeah, she was great. If you recognize my voice and recognize my avatar, which you would have remembered me, you were great. I miss you. I hope you're doing well. But yeah,
and you better subscribe to the On the Throne podcast.
Yeah, do that. Soon available in Spanish subtitles.
I mean, we do keep talking about Spanish teachers. Like, geez,
it's true. We need to get some dub action. That'd actually be pretty funny. Now I want to go ahead and see how much they would charge for a full hour of talking. Oh my god.
I can actually link you a site that will translate the subtitles. Like, it will do like, there's a site called Rev that does like subtitling, and they will also do translations. And you don't want to pay that much for a podcast.
Oh god. For like hour and a half, just yeah.
I can't afford it. I can't afford it for my like 15 to 20-minute YouTube videos. Jesus, you don't want to do it for an hour and podcast, but it's a really good service. Otherwise, I've used it a couple of times.
Oh my god!
I'll just stick to Google Translate personally.
Listen, man,
that's about it.
I just got to go ahead and get my stimulus check, man, and fucking dump it into one subtitled podcast episode. There we go.
Oh yeah, the stimulus. Yeah, that's been useful.
Which, speaking of which, have you guys gotten your stimuluses yet? I know.
Yeah, I got it today, actually.
I have not yet, which is surprisingly. It's supposed to be in direct deposit. So, did you guys come in mail or just?
Mine was direct deposit a couple days ago.
Yeah, mine was direct deposit straight to my my checking account. So.
Shit, I'm getting held back here. Goddamn.
Government's watching you.
Nah. Yeah,
but yeah, it's been useful for me. I've been using it on a couple of things thus far. I've also been trying to be responsible and keeping track of what I've been spending from it.
Nice.
Because I'm bad with my money.
Same. Like I'm having to like control myself from just like spending it on a Nintendo Switch and just buying all the games that I've been wanting to buy for like 4 fucking years now.
I'm hoping to go ahead and have just a secret backstash of money that my family does not know about. No, don't get me wrong. Like, they're great people and everything like that. But I just want it to be where, like, I'm just like, I roll up in like, a $25,000 car.
Roll up in a fucking Lambo.
Yeah, and they're like, "Where did you get the money for that?" And I'm just like, "You don't want to know.
You don't know about it.
You don't want it." Yeah, and
listen. Subscribe to the On the Throne podcast to find out.
Subscribe to the On the Throne podcast for money making tips and money laundering.
Just download it straight from YouTube. Find out the whole entire thing is encrypted in Bitcoin.
You wouldn't download a car, would you?
Hell of a fuck yes, I would.
Absolutely, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like one of the dumbest fucking ad campaigns possible. Like, did they even think for a moment when they made that ad? You wouldn't download a car, would you? Yes, I would.
Bitch, fucking, it's a car. No shit. Fucking, I will say though, that one, the pirating one that does take the cake for me is when the person goes ahead and downloads a song, and it's real. If you know the one, it's like the 1990s commercial where it's like really, really bad like quality. It's almost play quality. A guy
Mhm.
kicks down the door with a hanger, like, and he's pretending to be a cop with a gun. And he says, "Get down on the ground! Get down on the ground!" And he's just pulling these kids away from this computer.
Oh,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, what just the audio for the police officer, I shit you not, is the best microphone booming thing ever. It's fucking
It's not. It's not. He's not even saying anything. He's like, "Ah!"
Oh my god. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. There was like this really like badly recorded, never illegally download fucking. I fucking found it. I found the shit. It's so good. I'm just gonna post it in like the fucking general for you guys later on. But it's basically like this fucking skit from a school, and these
That's what
two
we're
kids
talking
are
about.
like,
That's the one.
yeah, the exact one. That
Yeah!
exact one. Yes.
That's what we were talking about.
It's so
fucking
bad.
go!
It's just like a fucking skit. It's just like fucking what? 2010. It's like 11 years old. Is this upload? Almost 15 million views. Bullshit. It's never illegally download.
Never illegally downloaded.
You can't understand the motherfucker.
Just fucking I don't want to cause any more ear pain for other people, but just fucking the bass of just
I mean, is it? Would it be ear rape if it's consensual? Like if you know
Oh,
going into it.
I forgot about the part where the computer is not even turned on.
Yeah.
It's literally just a piece of paper on the front of it with just like illegal site
song.
written in marker and like a drawn on fucking like progress bar. It's fantastic. It's so good.
Yeah, give it a
Oh,
watch,
man.
folks. Give it a watch because god damn.
I mean,
this is-
If you
You
haven't
best put
watched
that in the
already,
description.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. My god.
Oh man.
So yeah, nah, good times in pirating, good times and stuff like that. And well,
Yar.
amen.
Yep.
So Trisky, how does it feel to be our very first podcast guest, the very, very special man, our big boy, our hero?
For all 8 of our subscribers.
Exactly.
Well,
which-
damn. Every single one of your subscribers should feel really good about themselves and pat themselves on the back
thank
and tell their friends to subscribe as well.
Good man. Good man.
Yep.
We're totally not going to go ahead and edit that out and make it
And
weird.
subscribe to me too.
TriskyTV. But yeah, man. Nah, we go ahead and for the audience that doesn't know behind the scenes, we often play tabletop with Trisky on a weekly basis.
A whiskey basis.
On a whiskey basis.
A whiskey basis. And
Don't you fucking ooh-woo at me.
I
Ooh-woo illegal. $250 fine.
It is. We go ahead and play tabletop with him. We are right now doing a Rogue Trader campaign, surprisingly, with him, and hopefully in the future, maybe restarting our good old Mordheim campaign. And yeah, it's we all have a blast over on the RP channel.
Yeah, so there's a secondary channel I run that hosts all the VODs for said Rogue Trader campaign. I'm going to assume you guys will link it, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll link it.
But there's a playlist of it that you guys can catch up on. You guys both play in it with me, and I play probably the most obnoxious and dumb character called Gizmek, who is the orc in this Rogue Trader party. I'm the only Xenos.
He's the green man, our green boy.
I mean, he may be the most obnoxious character, but he's also the most fun character, in my opinion.
It's true. It's true.
Orcs are fun. Orcs are great. I mean, have you seen that recent thing? I've been watching. It's another podcast, but it's a 40K specific one.
Yeah,
that I've been.
I think you linked it to me.
Yeah, the Adeptus Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a podcast run by Bricky, and Bricky is the guy who did those 2 videos, like those 2 like 40 to an hour long videos that were like succinct and funny summarizations of the factions of Warhammer 40K. basically for the newcomer. Like they weren't 100% accurate all the time, and they didn't really go into any supreme detail. But they covered basically all of the Imperial factions and then all of the Xenos and Chaos factions in the thing very well, and it's fucking hilarious. He's actually started a separate podcast called The Adeptus Ridiculous, and in their orc episode that they finally got to, they did this one part where he retold a story that he heard that was really fucking good, and they made an animation out of it. It's just fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's just like a homage to how ridiculous orc imagination is.
Yeah.
Because basically it's just a bunch of guardsmen like running out of ammo.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And then after a while, one of the captains is just thinking about something and he has an idea and he just raises up his gun and he points at them and he goes, bang! And then an orc dies.
And then the rest of the guardsmen join in.
And then the rest of the guards join in and they keep shooting at them. And this goes on for a little while. And then all of a sudden they see this one group of orcs coming at them and they start doing the same thing to them, but they don't fall down. And they aren't sure why. And then after a while they hear this chanting. And as it gets closer, they can finally make it out. And the orcs are just saying, I'm a take, I'm a take, I'm a take, I'm a take, I'm a take.
It's just, yeah. And that's basically orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's basically why I play Gizmek like such a fucking stubborn motherfucker, because I'm just like, orcs can do this shit. I'm gonna do this shit.
Orcs, basically, they break the laws of physics just with their imagination. And they don't even know it is the best part. They don't even know it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're not breaking physics. They're following the laws of physics. Otherwise, the laws of physics, like, they wouldn't be able to do it.
I'm sorry,
the
laws of reality.
The
The laws of reality bend to the will of the orcs.
Yes, that is true. Ah, lordy. Well,
it just gets the rest of the party in trouble every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Which, again, we have fun with. And, yeah, hopefully...
Yeah. Tabletops are fun.
But, like, since we're on the subject of tabletops, what is y'all's favorite system to play in?
That's a good question.
Wait,
Trisky, would you like to lead off on this one, or would you like me to take the reins?
I'm always rough with what's your favorite. Like I know for a fact I'm not the greatest with old school D&D. I liked 3.5 a little bit more than 5e, but because I'm more for the like intricacies kind of stuff, and 3.5 was like a lot more in depth with a lot of things when it came to stuff. But I am really liking the systems of Rogue Trader and such so far. Like I do like some of the systems that go really in depth. It's just that the barrier to entry is really annoying.
Yeah. It's kind of like you need to have at least one other system memorized underneath your belt before you can kind of step up to it. Otherwise, it can be a very big headache.
Yeah.
See, I'm personally a fan of 5e, so I mean that. To be fair, it may just be like the fact that it's probably the first system that I've ever run or played in. So like that, it's just I've been with it a while. I know how it works. I know the ins and outs. So I guess I just kind of like know how to make things busted. So like any system where I know how to like break a character just from like the basic rules, I'm really gung ho about, because I like to make things busted as shit. It's just really fun for me to do that.
Well, my answer is it's a bit more complicated, because you guys probably haven't heard this one. My brother actually introduced me to a system quite a while ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, called, I think it was like something goblins, like a sack full of goblins or whatever it is. And it's basically, think of 3.5, except it's more it's more like realistic, more lethal in a sense, and there's it kind of like it's kind of like low fantasy, where magic is dangerous, and a single swipe from a sword can almost kill your character pretty much. So basically, in this system, one of the things that I am willing to go ahead and put hands down as my favorite like system of all time is that they have a class called the Sorcerer, which of course, like in 5e, you can go ahead and see that as, oh, that's a magic user like the wizard. But the way that the sorcerer is played in this one, the way that it makes it unique is that you get complete and utter creative freedom from the very get-go once you get that class on what you want to do. For example, if you wanted to go ahead and just for my character, which I used for example, was basically called the Vape Master. I took literally
Oh boy.
Ethan Klein's H3H3's vape outfit and went ahead and just like, yep, that's my guy. So he went ahead and would go ahead and just he'd vape on people and do magic powers and stuff like that. And one of the interesting things is just like, oh, we need to go ahead and sneak past these guys. How do we want to go ahead and do this? Well, I'm going to go ahead and vape on my friends, and that vape is going to turn them invisible. And it's just like, all right, roll to see if you don't explode, which was the side effect of sorcerers. You had to roll dice to see if you didn't explode when using your powers, which the more you use your powers, the more and more you had chances of. But yeah, just being able to say, all right, yeah, no, you can just turn them invisible instead of having to worry about like, spell slots or oh, I have the right spell, but this is the condition. It was just so freedom like allowing to just be able to say this is what I want to do. Like it could be as specific or as like, as general as possible and that's how I do it. So that just that being able to that being said, yeah, that is one of my favorite systems.
So there's something that I kind of find interesting about what you said.
Yeah.
Would you? And I want to clarify this before I continue.
Yes.
Would you say that like lethality in a system appeals to you?
Lethality in a system, I believe. Okay, lethality when it's fair slash earned, I believe. Like in low fantasy and like in lower, like more lethal campaign settings, where realistically a sword shop is very lethal in real life. Yeah, that does appeal to me. Even like if a single gunshot does like 8 damage, that's pretty much all got you out of the ground, pretty much out of the fight, and depending, it could even just kill you.
Okay. See, I'm very much like the opposite. Like when something like can insta give me that makes me like not want to engage with like the enemy. Like I understand like the appeal of like wanting to think through your actions, but like when a character dies in a tabletop system, they're fucking dead. Like that's it. Like you have to make a new character, and if you put like effort into making your character, that's kind of a pain to like make. I'm not saying that like death shouldn't be a risk, not at all. Like if you you play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah,
I'm all for that. But when you just have a bad dice roll, and oh, well, I guess the character that I've been playing for the past 3 months is dead now. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it.
I'm definitely with Reaper Joe here, but I'm also completely and utterly sentimental sap when it comes to like any of my characters in anything from like video games to whatever. Like I'll reload every single save in every single game to save the most inconsequential of what the fuck ever most of the time, which is a problem.
Especially in games where same thing.
Especially in games where you're absolutely expected to lose characters and you really can't progress unless you accept their deaths. Like, so you introduced me as like YouTube guy. The reason I sort of got any basis on YouTube, like I'm still not really anywhere, but the reason I got any basis at all is mainly because of Lobotomy Corporation. Lobotomy Corporation expects you to let people die.
Yeah.
That was the problem. Because I didn't want to let people die, especially considering the people I had were named after a bunch of viewers.
Oh,
like
no.
Every now and then I would be a spiteful prick and somebody would piss me off in chat and I would let them die on purpose because I am that type of person at times. But overall, I would not be trying to let people die, and that would force me to restart an entire in-game day, which would take hours and hours and hours of my time in addition.
Wow.
Which sucks. Which is why I'm really happy that the sequel, the game that follows it, there is no permadeath. So that is very much a relief to me. because if I lose a battle, I lose some books which are useful for progression, but my characters don't die.
Nice. I suppose actually I should go ahead and explain the sort of psychology behind why I'm sort of more intimate and exposed, like kind of more accepting with a more lethal sort of system. Where back when I first ever played tabletop, my brother invited me over to an in-person game of 3.5, and this is my first ever game ever. So I went ahead and I'm not gonna lie, and you have every right to judge me. I went ahead and made the stereotypical edgy rogue. Like fucking he ran away
We all
from
Oh,
his
yeah.
parents and like, stuff like that.
My first
You're
character was
fucking
also a
loud.
rogue. I understand.
Just-
I did the exact same thing.
You need to get out that teenage angst, man. Teenage angst. But anyways, what happened is that after about 3 sessions, because of a choice that he went ahead and made, he ended up dying after the 3rd session. And with that, it was kind of like, at first I thought it was like, a video game, just like, oh, I'll respawn. But instead of it just being like, no, the actions that, you went ahead and did, to be fair, my character went ahead and basically OD'd on these extremely like magical power, like, power off pills. So basically he had like 22 strength, but then he went into a blind blood range and the party ended up killing him. So what
So he OD'd on the Powerpuff Girls and died from the party.
basically, yeah, he ended up he tried to stab a giant but ended up stabbing our cleric instead. But
Oh,
yes.
lovely.
Yeah, so what basically after that, I really sort of went ahead and just saw, oh, that was a lot of fun. And I'm instead of being like, mad, oh, my character died or whatever, I was just like, yeah, you know what? I can go ahead and write a new character and it will, it'll be fun. Like, just being able to accept that I was able to accept death a lot more easier in a sense. Even though, yeah, my character went through and he was able to do his personal moments and stuff like that in the game, but only having like those 3 sessions to live just for that first time experience really sort of laid the ground down of like, oh, you can get it's fine to get personally invested with your character, but at the same time you got to go ahead and just say, it's just a game. So if one of them dies, yeah, you have every right to be like, upset. Usually, like I believe the upset timer is if your character dies, like about half an hour to cool down. But yeah, no, that's my sort of experience on why I feel like less less, I guess, connected or willing to take those risky systems in the sense of being able to face death.
You mean more willing to take the risky systems?
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, I get your point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess from a more practical perspective, if a character dies, it's not only that you're done for the session. Like you also have to like spend a whole lot of time just making a new character. Like, and that just is like a lot of time, especially for if you're playing like a caster character in 5e. Like, God forbid you just want to make a wizard when you're 11th level. Like, when you have to pick all of your spells and things like that, and then you have to decide how the hell they got to level 11 if your campaign's been going along for that long.
And also, on my end, I also have to commission new art for the new character.
Yeah, that too.
Well, for me, I can understand that, but in my sort of young blindness, I was just happy to play, and I was,
No,
like,
yeah, like basically that
No,
sort
yeah,
of
I totally
blinded
get it.
all sort of feeling of like oh, I gotta make another character or something like that. Yeah, it's just like
Yeah,
hey,
like,
I'm,
like,
yeah,
I
I'm
could
playing with
I
my
could
friends. This is
absolutely
great.
get making a new character. I could absolutely get making a new character and being able to accept that. Like I'm totally also like I'm simultaneously the guy that gets super attached to things and doesn't want to let them die. And also the nerd who restarts shit all the goddamn time from the beginning because it's been a little while since I played the game and I want to start fresh again. So
Yeah.
I make a new character anyway and just restart. So I'm like both sides of the coin regardless. I don't mind the idea of starting fresh, and sometimes I like the idea. Like I've had legitimate thoughts in Mordheim of retiring Mange. But I also don't want to retire Mange. It's like a conflict in my head. at times here and there. And it's just like, I'm like, oh, I really love Mange. He's such a cool, he's basically the mascot at this point, but because everyone else tells me that he is. He's a self-proclaimed leader because nobody else argues with him. And he's really fun to voice because he's Mange. He does really say things like this. But I also want to try and explore different things that I could potentially do in this setting. I wonder if I could play a skink. Kind of just like my mind wanders like that. So I'm totally like, I would be sad, definitely, but I also would accept it. And I know that low fantasy gaming is one of those systems that's intended to be a little bit more brutal, but not the most brutal out of like all the systems.
Yeah. All right. So one of my gripes with low fantasy, I understand like wanting to make a lethal system, but I have like, there's a lot of stats in there that are basically, if you don't invest in this stat, your character is dead. They're purely defensive, and they don't really have like a lot of like offensive like utility. It's also like one of my gripes with Low Life 2099, and I've talked with Sponge about this like at length before, but I haven't really brought it up in Low Life 29, mostly because I haven't seen it come up in game, so it's kind of hard to like. I don't want to judge Low Life yet because I haven't like seen it like actually come up like in game yet, but like at least in low fantasy it came up quite a bit. I did not like luck, and I do not like willpower as stats. The biggest thing with luck is that luck is already a factor in the game itself by virtue of the core mechanic. Like dice rolling in and of itself is a matter of luck. So the fact that like luck is a stat that goes down the more you're successful, basically means that like, yes, there is an offensive use for luck in low fantasy, but like it basically means if you want to use luck, that means that you're probably not going to succeed in that save later on. And like that's in low fantasy, especially those saves are basically save or die, especially in like higher levels or like boss encounters. And boss encounters tend to be at the end of the adventure when your luck is probably at its lowest. Yeah. And then the thing about Will has almost no offensive use unless you're a very specific class. Every time you're using Will, it's either to recover from a battle or to resist a spell. And that's it. And like it's a purely defensive stat. The reason why I don't have the same gripe with Constitution, which is also a mostly purely defensive stat, is because that defensive stat scales like quadratically. It both protects you with your saves from like luck saves and boosts your con score, but it also increases your health, which means that like the more health you have, the healthier you are. So like when you take that poison damage and you have to make a con save to take more poison damage, well, if you have a higher con score, you're more likely to get the save and only take half the poison damage. So not only are you more healthy, but you're also taking less damage overall. So it scales quadratically versus purely linearly, if that makes sense.
So let me just put this one thing out there. I love that I'm completely and utterly following this like very well. And then I just step like back a moment and look at this conversation from an outside perspective, and I just see somebody drooling.
Yeah, yeah. I just went very like super mathematical there. So
yeah. So for some perspective, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. It's rusting the fuck away because I got it 7 years ago at this point and haven't really used it. And Sponge is literally an IT student right now, right?
Yeah.
I also went to school for computer science. I dropped out about like almost 7 years ago now. Yeah.
Yeah. So we all have at least some basis in like math related, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
we
like
also all have experience in tabletop games, so we can get the basis of this pretty fucking well. But I can just imagine somebody coming into this podcast like, oh, cool. These guys are going to talk about some funny stuff and weird stuff. And then all of a sudden, quadratic. What?
Game balance, numbers.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
But yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from with that. It's just like I sort of, from my time GMing Low Life 2090 with you guys so far, I haven't seen luck being such a huge thing. I also haven't been throwing things that do luck effects to you in the low life system.
Which is why I haven't really commented on it, because I don't know how prevalent it is.
To be fair, the setting that you guys are in doesn't really possess a lot of the more magical elements that are technically included within Low Life 2090 as a system, because the actual Low Life 2090 system, for context for everyone listening, we're playing a game in Necromunda, which is part of the Warhammer 40k universe, so similar to Rogue Trader, but it's set in a hive city, which is like one of the human cities. And this is like just a human city. It's the far future, and it really isn't super fantasy magic. I mean, there are some psychers. We have one psycher in the party, but that isn't a prevalent feature of this. The actual Low Life 2090 roleplay system that we're using, though, is a hybrid between, technically, a cyberpunk setting with magic in it. So we actually aren't really delving into much of the magic at all, but there are literally like trolls and shit in the like rule book, like stat blocked out and whatnot, and spells and shit.
Could I interject a little bit? Because but to do magic, I actually wanted to bounce with magic off of Reaper Joe's point about luck, because magic users inside of the low fantasy system, basically what happens is that they have an ever increasing chance of creating a magic mishap, which is called dangerous and dark magic, which basically you roll on a D100 table and you go ahead and, like, you know, it could be like, oh, you transform into a gibbering like monster for a couple of minutes, or you go ahead and, like, it could be even a buff. But what happens every time you go ahead and you trigger that sort of magic is that you always go down a luck. And the thing that discourages, the thing with that is down or bad for me, I see is basically
that you dislike.
Yeah, that I dislike is that being a magic user who's, of course, you're supposed to be seen as Gandalf, you know, the person who barely uses magic, but at the same time, when he does, it's very powerful and impressive. But a person who mainly uses magic is going to have a significantly less luck stat, because after you use dangerous and dark magic, you lose a luck, no matter what, every time you trigger. And it's a 1 in 20 chance that's ever increasing. So I remember my character, for example, his name was Jeb inside of the campaign. He was down at 5 luck at one point, which is out of
most of the characters, for perspective, were about 13, and you had to roll a d20 and get under the number.
Yes. So I had a 25% chance of, like, passing, you know, a basic save, or like take a lot of damage, which I was a mage, so I'm already at very low hit points to begin with, or possibly a really bad effect, you know. So that's where I'm kind of siding on Reaper Joe on this one, or back on that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, thematically, I understand where Steve Grodzinski is the name of the guy who develops the systems. He's actually in the Discord server for our Necromunda campaign.
Yeah. It's pretty neat to have the creator with us and, like, get like direct feedback.
He's also a really chill Australian dude. So that's a pretty fun thing to note.
No hate on him.
Yeah, I can totally see thematically where he's coming from with the look, but I can also see like in certain circumstances where it's going to be aggravating. So it's definitely just like I see where you guys are coming from. I also don't necessarily agree nor disagree with you on it, to be honest. Like I'm going to be the odd one out here and say I actually think that the luck system is interesting and engaging for me as a player, because like the slow idea that over time, as you continue to engage with things within this world, that eventually your odds are going to end up not in your favor, and that is a physical representation through the game that if you are that one character, that one player that always seems to roll very well, then you would be the one person that would need this system in place to balance it out for you, because otherwise you would never fucking like go down. It would be impossible to take you down. And like, yeah, that's sort of like one thing like, yeah, you're really lucky all the time, but as that's sort of one of the points of low fantasy gaming. It is a low fantasy setting, and it is also intended to be sort of that like depressing, dark atmosphere where over time, as you continue to go through these things, as these things continue to stack against you, eventually the odds will not be in your favor and things will go poorly. And like as you were saying before, you were like, eventually you get to the boss, which is normally at the end of the fight, at the end of the campaign, after your luck is whittled away over time. Well, that sort of makes sense that your luck would be whittled away at that point, because you've been through all this adversity and such. Up until then, you're not going to be at your peak performance, and that's sort of just a system representation of that. So to me, it doesn't seem exactly like yeah, it can be frustrating from the player perspective in the moment, but overall from like a design perspective, like looking at it top down, like looking at the system, it just seems like it's actually a pretty okay representation of that. There are other ways that could definitely be implemented in a way, or like you guys are saying, it could be removed, and that would be something like probably homebrew at the behest of the GM. For example, Steve Grodd makes a lot of notes in Low Life 2090, where he's basically noting all throughout the thing, like, yeah, if the GM doesn't agree with this, you should probably remove it. He basically is noting everywhere to homebrew shit.
Yeah.
I mean, 2090 and low fantasy were designed to be somewhat like rules light. I remember that being a thing. I would argue on the luck factor that, like, health being the biggest thing, that like you're beyond that, stat drains, status effects, things of that nature would be like other representations of how like your resources have dwindled, like lack of spell slots. I think
look at it
luck,
this way.
yeah.
For one thing, here's another way for me to put it that I think gets my point across a little bit better. You know how in Rogue Trader there's a fatigue? There's like a stress, a fatigue system. I think luck is sort of a similar system to that, just named differently.
I mean, yeah, I can kind of see like fatigue.
Like over time, you like you can heal. You can physically heal your wounds and regain your health and recover from status effects. But you are fatigued and you are wearing out like the grace of the gods or whatever over time. Like you can only dodge so many bullets, quote unquote, theoretically, like metaphorically and whatnot, and that's what it's representing.
I mean, I also have a few issues with the game design of Rogue Trader, but I guess we can segue into that a little bit. I think I think I kind of have this, like, willpower is also in Rogue Trader. I kind of have the same issue as I do in low fantasy, because if you're not a psyker class, like you're basically using willpower to resist things, and like you can't really use it. I want to say offensive, like proactively, unless you're a psyker, and to an extent, like it's less of a problem in Rogue Trader than in low fantasy in 2090, because there are more stats. There in Rogue Trader, there's weapon skill, ballistic skill, toughness, strength, willpower, perception, intelligence, and fellowship. And I think there's one more, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. But like with more stats, there are like more things that you can specialize in, and you're not like. And like more effects have to target like different things. So like even if things target your willpower, you're not necessarily like, even if you're weak on willpower, you're not necessarily like skimping on defense elsewhere. So like, but like the thing about Rogue Trader is that it's a very slow game, because there's just so many things you have to keep track of in Rogue Trader, like with talents especially. And I could never imagine running Rogue Trader as a DM.
Thank you, Zach.
Bless you, Zach. You're the best. Because like, have you seen the NPC stat blocks for the game? Trisky?
Nope, I don't really want to either. Now
I
from
have.
just you bringing it up.
Like,
Uh,
it has all traits and talents and features, but they're not listed at what they do.
Yeah, they have, and the thing is, talents, traits, and skills are not in the same spot in the rulebook. So you literally have to flip through the rulebook as you're making out a character. And if you want to homebrew a character, that's an incredibly involved process too.
Oh yeah,
And you still have to
I know full
roll
well
all
that
of their stats.
I know full well that rule book is not well organized to quickly find shit. That I learned already. Holy shit.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, the way penetration and armor interact, it's just like you're better off just having like straight damage. So like penetration is just like kind of like a useless stat. Like, oh, this thing has 15 pen, but like most characters are only going to have, like, I think the max armor rating for any armor is 8, maybe 7. Yeah,
I think 8 is power armor, like Space Marine power armor.
like really good, like best quality power armor, or something like that. So anything with like more than 8 pen is basically useless.
So basically, if unless you're like playing Space Marines in Dark Heresy, you may as well not have anything over like 8 pen.
Yeah. So like, there's a lot of like garbage stats, like stats that are there just to complicate the game, and that's my biggest gripe with Rogue Trader, is that there's a lot of extraneous things. I don't want to say garbage because it's actually a really fun game. People should play it. It's just there's a lot in there, and a lot of it looks really cool. But when you're actually playing, it doesn't actually do anything like amazing. And if it does come up, it comes up once.
Would I be able to, say my 2 cents about it? Basically, I have 2 things that go ahead and mess with me a bit in Rogue Trader. Now, don't get me wrong; it's a lovely, lovely system, but one of the things that really kind of scratches kind of itches me in the wrong spot is the amount of skill options that they go ahead and give you inside of the game, but yet basically in the game, they don't give you a lot of skills to go ahead and play with. For example, if you're an astropath, Malachi only has 2 skills, which is awareness and charm. And out of 20 of them, basically, for the people that don't know, if you don't have a skill like in trained, basically, meaning you have that skill, you take a penalty, which is out of, basically the average is 30 in your your stat score. You get your score cut in half. So you need to roll a percentile die and roll under that. Kind of like in low fantasy, but on a D20 or a D100. So it can be really annoying just thinking that, oh, I can do this averagely and this one averagely, but everything else I'm considered shit at. Oh, well, what if my character's backstory has it where I'm sneaking around and I can steal stuff, and maybe I'm a psyker, I can talk to people. Oh, well, you got to either talk this in with a GM and maybe get an extra skill at the start, just 1 extra skill out of 20, but it's very, very hard to just have just basically a bunch of skill. I just feel like you really get punished just at the beginning of the game with skills wise. I understand it's supposed to show progress of building those skills up and that you gain stuff like that, just being able to be trained in it. But at the same time, they could have been a little bit more generous with that stuff, in my opinion.
Insert EA sense of pride and accomplishment.
But yeah, no, it is really annoying to roll, even if you're trained in it. If you only have you have a 30% chance to succeed on any given roll, which is super annoying. But continue.
The second option I want to go ahead and bring up is that even though Rogue Trader is definitely a numbers game, if you have not gotten a B in algebra, I'm going to say good luck playing this game, because you will get very lost very quickly, and it's almost you will guaranteed at least miss a few modifiers your first time going through it, your first session.
Yeah. And on top of that, Rogue Trader is also Rogue Trader has one barrier to entry that we've sort of been skimming over, just by assumption, but you have to know at least a bare minimum about 40k lore and stuff. And there is no way you're going to actually get into Rogue Trader well enough without like at least a bare minimum knowledge of how the 40k universe works.
So, I actually I have actually a story based off that. If you
Yeah.
guys are if you guys want to go ahead.
Oh
and
boy,
Reaper
let's
Joey-
go.
Yeah, okay. So my first ever Rogue Trader experience, I knew nothing about the lore. So it was basically
Yeah.
what happened is that my brother went ahead. He came up to me. He's just like, "Hey, I know that you went ahead and died. Like, your character died after 3 sessions. We're gonna be doing a new system, so it's going to be a lot of fun. What do you think of this thing called Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader?" I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. How do I play?" And he's just like, "All right, you go ahead and what do you think you'd be on, like a space pirate ship? What stuff do you think you'd be?" And I'm just like, "Okay, give me some options." He's just like, you could be a metal man that goes ahead and, like, is a bit of a preacher, but also is really good with tech stuff." And I'm just like, "That man, I like that man," which is how he signed me on for the tech priest class. But yeah,
Yeah,
just
Mechanicus.
yeah, going through the first session of it, like, everybody else knew about it except for me, which was hilarious because when on the ship, basically we were just pulling out from dock, and they said, "All right, tech priest, go ahead and appease the machine spirits." I was just like, "What the fuck does that mean?" And I had to go ahead and just bullshit it on the spot. I was just like, "My guy just sticks his finger into an outlet into the wall." Am I appeasing the machine spirit?
You're appeasing something.
Yeah, and they're
This
just
sounds. This sounds like what I like if I had decided to actually like if Zach didn't mention that I could be an orc, I was originally going to be a Mechanicus. This sounds like what my theoretical character would have done, like for shits and giggles. Yet you're doing it out of like pure like ignorance.
yeah, and the rogue trader captain, who, mind you, for some reason was 10 years old. Like, not the character, not the player, the character. The rogue trader was 10 years old. He turned and yelled at my tech priest, "Stop molesting the ship!" I was just like, "I don't know what I'm doing." That
Oh
God,
boy.
God bless Joe Ironsides, my tech priest. He the first Space Hulk we come in contact with, he accidentally gets his cohort's legs chopped off, which was a player's, so I still feel a little bit bad for that. But yeah, it was a good campaign regardless, and I made sure to read up on the full 2 hours basically the generalization of Warhammer 40k.
Yeah, so you had to catch up really hard
Yeah.
afterwards. Yeah.
The
So my
the
point
floor.
still stands. Like you could barely function.
Yeah, it's just like all I did was roll tech use, and that was it. That was my good thing. Can I tech use it? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Holtz, my character in the current campaign. I don't know a whole lot about 40k. So I just know that I have so much money that I can pay people to change their names to like whatever I want. I can literally name a dynasty butt sniffer. That is how much money I have. And they will sing my praises for years to come. And as long as Zach says, "Yeah, you are above this person," I'll be like, "Okay, peasant, move along." And that's basically how I'm planning on playing Holtz.
Yeah.
For everyone that isn't a PC, pretty much.
Yeah.
But man,
Mhm.
And if you ever try and take that tone with the orc will not care about your money and smash your head in.
that's why I'm not going to take that tone with the orc.
Yeah, exactly.
The orc is, I mean, the crew is special. The crew are basically my my puppets that I play with, and I let them. They just kind of do whatever they want. And I'm like, that's great. Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, I have one last question about that story from you, Sponge.
Yeah.
When you started up with that character, your tech priest that you really didn't understand, how much of your character's like stats and stuff did you have to roll, and how much did he just do for you?
Surprisingly, he walked me through the entire thing. He was I remember it. He was very. He ended up with like 50 strength for some fucking reason and like 45 intelligence.
Holy shit!
It was really good, and he had, like, average weapon skill. I was just like, Jesus Christ, why is he so fucking buff? So I went ahead and like the last thing I did was make the name for the guy, which was just Joe Ironsides, because the impictioning I had for him was just Joe Swanson, but mechanical legs. And I went ahead and for the first session just played with the entire Joe Swanson accent. Just, hey, Captain, I'm appeasing the
Messiah.
for the Omnissiah. Yeah, later. It was a good campaign.
Goddamn.
Good shit.
Yeah, really.
I remember my first Rogue Trader character. He was a space cowboy.
Oh yeah, that.
I remember my first character. He's in your campaign.
He's a good character. I like him a lot.
He's a fun guy. Yeah.
He smashes things and doesn't afraid of anybody. That is such an old ass meme.
No.
He's also a fun guy.
I remember. Fuck you. I will go ahead and bring up like a little bit from Reaper Joe's and I's previous Rogue Trader campaign, that there was a fun little bit that basically Reaper Joe played as the arch militant, who, for those who don't know, is like, the gun tootin' shooty McShooterson who, like, it went off and did bounty hunting and stuff like that. I was the Rogue Trader for that campaign. But what ended up happening is that I think it was so funny that we were doing a casino heist, which basically all it was that I told Zach, like at the end of a session, like when we just didn't know what to do, I was just like, Zach, I think Holtz would know somebody who works at a Xeno casino, and have some good loot. Wink, wink. And he's just like, oh yeah, Holtz would totally, or not Holtz. Oh yeah, like the Rogue Trader would definitely know that. And then that's how he made a session out of it. Fucking thank you, Zach, again. But what ended up happening with Holtz, basically the job went right, but so wrong in many places. Like we nearly escaped in a fucking van. It was great because not Holtz. Fucking, what was your character's name again?
My character's name was Mick.
Mick.
His name was not Holtz.
Yeah, it's not Holtz. Fucking like Holtz here. Reaper Joe's character, Mick, he went ahead and got this fancy new bolt pistol, which is like the only thing he wanted from this heist out of like all the Xenotech and like, all the money that we got. And which he went ahead and got after we like killed somebody. So he went ahead and got that, and we were escaping in like the van, making our way back to the ship, just like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. The job's going bad. He got shot in the hand, dropping his bolt pistol. I think the thing...
It wasn't the new one. It was my other one. So I got to keep the new one, but I lost the other one.
I thought that was like a more than one occasion that like you got fucked over.
No. What fucked me over in that campaign was that every time I went to shoot my guns, I either insta-killed the encounter or instantly jammed. There was no in between. And more often than not, I jammed. So I would go and I would be prepared to just roll like a fuck ton of damage. And the first thing I'd do is jam my pistols. I would even spend a fate point to re-roll the dice, and I would just jam even harder.
That was right. And it didn't even matter when my character, like, for those who don't know, Rogue Traders can like encourage people in battle, like by giving them some encouraging words. It didn't matter if my guy went ahead and encouraged him or not. He just fucking jammed. He was cursed.
I was cursed. I didn't want to play another D100 system because I just thought that they hated me.
The cursed character. I feel like what the fuck is we've been watching that channel, Sponge, that one channel that does like the really short like D&D related skits. I feel like that should have been part of like the like D&D stereotypes, the cursed character kind of bullshit.
Or what?
No. It's like the really short form like D&D videos.
Oh, you're talking about like that Vine guy. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, you got.
Yeah. Let me see if I can fucking find the channel here. God damn.
Another link for me to add below.
Yeah, let me add every single possible link. But yeah, basically it's a YouTube channel. They do short form skits and whatnot based on like jokes and common things. It's the One Shot Questers, those guys.
Yeah.
And they did a video a little while back that was just like on stereotypes of like common like D&D players. One of them that would definitely fit would be like the cursed player, like the character that always rolls that.
That always rolls badly. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. The only cure that I have for that is just keep on trying dice combinations until they work, man. That's all I gotta say. But if you don't have dice,
it was only roll 20.
yeah, if
Roll
it's
20 just hated that character for some reason.
yeah, poor Mick.
I mean, his backstory involved cannibalism, so like
It's repentance.
Yeah.
I all of a sudden, I don't know why you guys mentioned casinos and you just mentioned cannibalism. All I can think now is he's from like the Fallout New Vegas like White Glove Society.
Fucking Ted Gunderson is my name.
Hey,
Fucking
God damn it! That
yeah,
quest line.
That was a good quest line, actually. But oh man,
mine's Kid Gunderson. My daddy's gonna kill you.
He just clears that fucking. If you let him know, he just clears that place out so easily. It's so great.
Oh God, but yeah, man, fucking tabletop. Yeah, for those who haven't tried tabletop, just if you can try and find a group, give it a try. You know, it's not worth. It's always best to try something once, except unless it's heroin. Don't do heroin, kids.
Oh yeah, or crack, or meth.
Speak for yourself. I've been high on heroin meth this entire time.
Bitch, you played Pixie.
It's true. It's true. Check out youtube.com/TriskyRoleplays if you want to see me play either a hoity-toity rich dude or a guy who might or might not be his mind all the time.
I'm going to specifically now add the link twice because we already added this link.
Yeah, so just like go watch Trisky, go watch Trisky Roleplays, and then just later on in the description, go watch Trisky Roleplays.
Yeah, nobody's gonna know. Hey, why'd you quote this twice? You'll see.
Did you watch the entire video? If you didn't, you are not a true fan.
Yeah, you're not a true on.
For shame, just rub like
the
index fingers. Shame, just like the shame bell.
If you didn't watch the entire hour and 3-minute video,
yeah,
shame on you.
Come on, Throners. Can you smash that like button and ring that notification bell? Throners.
Are we really calling
Make sure you lick cement and scrib.
Lick
cement and scribble. But are we really calling our subscribers Throners? We can do better. We can do better than that. You know what? Our subscribers, you guys are kings now.
Kings.
You're the kings.
I like it. They're kings.
Kings and queens, if you really want to be that pedantic. But you know.
Yeah, we live in 2021, man. We gotta be. You know, we're evolving in these days.
My lady.
Molasses.
But yeah, if you want to be a king, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. Do we even have a bell? Is our channel big enough to have a bell?
I'll get us a gong.
It's by default. It's by default.
Okay. I didn't know if we needed hit that 20 subscriber threshold to
Bitch, you golden.
No, but here's the thing. In order to make public posts, however, you do need, I think, a minimum of 10,000 subscribers, because I wanted to make the post of saying, hey guys, we're not going to be able to post episode 3 because it's rather shit today. But instead,
you mean
YouTube
community posts? I can make community posts.
Yeah, because you're a lucky fucking popular son of a bitch. Meanwhile, fucking I
have barely over 3,000 subscribers and I can make community posts.
I think it's
like
10,000 viewers or something, or 10,000 views in total.
Total. All right, yeah.
Yeah, but what fucking happened is that they're just like, no, you can't make a post because fuck you complications. So I had to go ahead and go out of my way to make a fucking really sabby ass fucking apology video to fucking send to those guys, and now in the in the recommended feed, it's just a bunch of people that make fucking YouTube apology videos. I think I saw.
All right, so what you need to do now is you need to make you need to redo it. You need to redo the entire video, but you need to do the actual YouTube apology video thing. It needs to be the whole
sigh. Yep.
We need to sit down in front of a couch.
Yep.
No, you need to sit down in front of a green screen, but just like green screen in like a mansion background and bring in your dog.
I have made a severe
continuous lapse in judgment. All right, I think this is good.
I think this is enough. I think this is enough content, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of On the Throne podcast.
And thank you again, TriskyTV, for taking an hour out of your very, very busy schedule of
whatever the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
I cry every time. Take care, everyone.
And we will see you all next time. I've been Reaper Joe, and this has been Lord Spongecake. And once again, thank you to our guest, TriskyTV. And this is the On the Throne podcast, taking the throne.
Bruh.